So listen, as we're going to dive in here, I want to ask you a very crucial question first and foremost. How you doing? How are you doing?
How am I doing? That's, you know what? I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's a very, very important question. You know what? I'm gonna keep it all the way. I'm gonna keep it a buck. And Miami is how can I put this? Miami is a very, very unique place. It's very special here. There's very magical, wonderful things about this place. But when it comes to filming and everything that is in the film world, and again, like I said, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Here, generally, it's more so the foundations, or I guess commercially, it's more Hispanic. So they're in this realm of things that are happening here, and this is not to come off like make it like a whole race thing or anything like that, but the benefits and benefactors of what I would say our media out here are very limited when it comes to BIPOC and just people of African American or no African descent or Caribbean descent, anything of that nature. And I think obviously there are organizations and corporations that are trying to build here and trying to make things happen, but it's very out here. I want to say it's I don't want to say it's desolate, but it is there's a bit of a drought, and so it's hard to the opportunities here are very scarce. But the beautiful thing about this place is that because it's not heavily filmed, I guess like a mecca, there isn't like a huge attention, so you can go ahead and go to certain locations and not have to be worried about somebody coming through like, hey, you got a permit, hey, you got this, so there's a bit more freedom there, but but as far as opportunities go, it's very tough. I mean, anyone can tell you there's other great filmmakers who are from here who had to kind of branch out and go different places to find certain opportunities and come back here and kind of like get this sort of praise and love. I mean, you can even go to Barry Jenkins' story and realize like he had to kind of sort of leave this area and come back. But the reason why I say all that is because I think deep down inside, a part of me, as far as my career goes, I'm very like I'm in a weird space where I feel kind of I want to give all to Miami. I'm pretty sure you feel that same way. With your town, your hometown, that's your birthplace, where you was raised at. You want to bring it up. So I feel strongly with that, but part of me is conflicted because I do also want to go to areas where that there will be great opportunities for me to go and hire spaces and build and I want to be in a position where I can facilitate, help out other filmmakers, specifically Black filmmakers. Me myself, I'm Haitian American. Yeah. I would love to help out, Haitian American filmmakers, Caribbean, island, all that. Anyone just I'd say who's underrepresented in any form of fashion, I would love to be some form of help, and create that, So I'm very big on that. I think that's where I think that I guess on a deeper level is how I'm feeling. But on wellness side, on the wellness aspect, because that's psychological, but on the wellness aspect, I feel great working out. I'm not letting this pandemic get me, not letting the pandemic weight get to me at all. You know what I'm saying? Running, eating healthy.
Good.
Berry smoothies all day.
All day, every day.
Ginger tea.
That's me.
Yeah.
No joke.
Yeah. Oh, that's you?
I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm dead serious.
That's good.
Oh yeah.
That's
We
good.
gotta keep the frequency high, man.
Absolutely.
That's it.
What you
I'm here.
consume. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
that. Listen, so I did not know, first of all, that Barry Jenkins is from Florida. So I actually
Yeah.
I love that story. And what I would say to you is never limit yourself. You have no idea what you're meant to learn outside of your space. And you can come back home and rep hard. I'm from Detroit. And there are so many young Black kids and filmmakers and creatives I want to help.
Yeah.
So I had to leave and go to college and come back to start this thing. So do what you got to do, man. The world is, listen, you are doing such powerful work. The world is yours. So watch how things just open up for you. Sometimes you don't even have to like go out looking. It might just come to you. So just hey, you never know.
That's true. You threw in a little, the world is yours. You threw in a little bit of yeah. Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah. Detroit is amazing. I don't know, 313, I don't know what your area code is, but I think Detroit is dope. Detroit is dope. I actually know I know someone from Detroit. She's a filmmaker as well, a Black filmmaker. Her name is Taylor. So I'm actually
Taylor
a big
Young?
Yes, Taylor. Yeah, so you know her.
All right.
Detroit.
I went to school with her.
Detroit. Okay,
listen, she's so cool. I'm like, she's just a cool chick. So yes.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And you guys, you know what? I'm telling you, man, I'm big on supporting the Black female filmmakers. I think you guys have a powerful voice. I think you guys have a lens that the world needs to see. And I can't wait to see more stories from you. And yo, I'm telling you, the movie that you got, okay. I'm waiting for you to make like a coming of age feature film. I'm waiting on that. And I'm hoping to see that very soon. So
you know, and when I was in school, that was something that I studied, was the lack of Black coming of age films. So I think that's incredible that you say that. I want to dive in there. I have a lot of different avenues, but thank you so much because it's necessary. I'm like, everybody else get to grow up and go through life trials, but us. I don't understand.
Yeah.
So like, we gotta see.
Yeah, it's always, absolutely. It's always trauma. It's always like more trauma than it is anything else. Like someone always has to die. It's always something like that, or there's drugs involved. But I watch like I watch something like Super Bad, or like just kind of like simple things. Like I watch Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, and I'm like, wow, like that's a very beautiful story. And although it did have somebody Black in it, I still was like, this could be told through the Black lens and not be so traumatic, because it was a very beautiful story. It was about a girl who's dying of cancer, but it was showing how the kid was like kind of giving his time to be with her while she was going through her situation, and just the idea of what a person who's dealing with that actually feels and goes through. So I thought that was dope, and I feel like there are certain stories, just like you said, there's certain stories that are coming of age in the Black sphere that I just don't think have been really told at all. I'm shocked at like how little so many stories that I know, from, because we are layered. Black, there's all types of everything of Black folk, like everywhere. So I'm surprised that like the lack of stories like that we have out there that are coming of age, because there's so many of them, and I'm waiting.
Truth. And so even when I see work like yours, you make such honest and relatable pieces. So I definitely say that you are one of the directors that you're speaking of, because you're making things that people haven't seen yet. And that's what we need more of. And it's beautiful to watch. It really is, man.
Yeah, that's good. I you know what? I think that's what we need to do. And not only just like it, and I learned from like, the ones before me, like Spike, he just doesn't tell the story. He actually, creates a unique visual sense of storytelling as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very important for us too, because, you know, Black people, and I'm gonna keep it a buck again, Black people were the original storytellers, astronomers, you know, creative. And honestly, we have developed a sense of how to really create voices and languages and storytelling. And I think we're constantly pushing it forward and creating what is the storytelling culture and everything like that. I think a lot of people get it from us, if I'm being quite honest. So yeah.
Even like in platforms like this, just to redirect real quick, I want to say that it's important for Black men to support Black women and Black women to support Black men. The reason why we're even able to do this is because both of us uplift each other, and we are doing the same thing in our communities. So I'm excited to hold more of these, and I hope you should go on and do the same too, because I know you have some really wonderful people in your life who you could have dope conversations with. They just got to be heard. So, you know.
No, I totally agree. I love that you're doing this. I love that it's a small world. I love that we both know Taylor.
Yeah.
You know, that's so dope. And you know, I love that. I love the fact that we have. I think I'm loving what's happening now. You know, the sort of atmosphere that I think Black men and women are starting to become much more unified than before. Yes. And I'm loving it. I'm loving the energy that's going into it. I really love the idea of constantly showcasing like this love format where we constantly like, hey, look, check out this queen's work and check out this king's work, and like referring to ourselves as royalty. I think that's great, because I think everything is I think a lot of the issues in the world are based on deep forms of identity crisis. So right. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely think when we begin to do that and honor each other, we kind of create this powerful not just positivity, but like self-awareness. Mm-hmm. You know, I think when you lack self-awareness, everyone's just going to be lost, like, and just trying to figure out where they fit in. And if they don't fit in, they're going to do something crazy, you know, to get attention. So
I agree with you fully. I think I heard somebody say something like, when you don't know a thing's purpose, you abuse it. And I think that completely goes for people. If you don't know your purpose, if you don't know who you are subject to abuse yourself or abuse what could have been your purpose. So the more we uplift each other and learn who we are and heal, the more we're going to be walking in purpose, and it's going to be easy to do so.
That's a bar. That's a bar.
Right? And you rap. Excuse me, I think you rap. Am I correct?
I do rap, but you know, I'm not gonna showcase anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
You can have that too. You can have it. You can use it.
Yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up. Rest in peace to DMX, by the way. Rest in peace to DMX. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just want to point that out. But you know, speaking of which, you know, he's a great storyteller, and I think just by the power of storytelling, I think what we in this, I'm probably kind of segueing when I say this. I think as storytellers, as creatives, I think we have such a incredible responsibility, because I think we create connection when it comes to human lives and everything. I think our form of art creates so much connection, because our form of art curates everything from imagery to visuals to speech to music. And I think when we you know, culminate all that into one in creating film, I think we just take people on a journey with us, and our voices are powerful. Our storytelling is very powerful, and we got to use it. And I love that we are using it. Yes. So
that was a great segue.
Yeah.
I love that. So speaking of which, let's dive into this wonderful film that you made called Peace. That's what we're really here to talk about today, among other things, of course. When I saw the film, it took me a second to get through it because I was like going back to just check things out because I was just so intrigued. And when I finally got to the end, I just sat with it for a while. And then I messaged you and I was like, yo, this is powerful. This is a powerful piece of work. So for all who are checking out this video, please describe to them what piece is, give them your log line. What would you say to people who haven't seen it yet?
So piece, just to like, you know, and this is, I guess my log line is like sort of catered to filmmakers or film lovers. So piece, I would say, is sort of like Birdman. It's shot in the style of like Birdman, Victoria, 1917, and it has the tone of Do the Right Thing, you know, stuff like Juice or Training Day, very Antoine Fuqua. And the story is two cousins are coerced into recovering a gun that was left in a diner by a notorious criminal whose name is Malloy. And Malloy tells them that they have to go and get the weapon or they have to suffer fatal consequences. So when they go to the diner that night to retrieve the weapon, they find that the gun is missing in a diner full of patrons. So they have to find out where the gun is and who may have the gun before they have to return back to Malloy with the bad news and suffer the consequences. And all this is happening while there's tension between the local community and police officers over the non-guilty verdict of a young Black boy who was just shot by an officer. So that's kind of like tension that's looming in the air while this story is happening. And it kind of like works its way into the plot as the story goes. And it's like a single take. And I really wanted to take people on that sort of like, you're walking with the characters, and it's like different vantage points too. So you don't only follow certain specific characters, you follow like this ensemble of characters that kind of bring the story together, and it makes for a beautiful piece, you know, no pun intended, but yeah, it's crazy because, you know, somebody was like, you named it that because you knew that people were gonna be like, oh, it's a masterpiece. It's an incredible piece. Like they was like, I was like, nah, no, it wasn't. No, and it was like, nah, you did that, and I was like, I promise you, yeah. But I've been getting that beautiful sort of feedback from everybody too. So yeah, that's the that I would say that's my I would say that's my spiel of the film. Just to not give away too much, but yeah.
Perfect. So I guess there are a few things I want to say about this. Just about your work in general. I had like 3 adjectives that I came up with because I've seen Peace, I've seen In a Lifetime, and I've seen an episode of What's More Important. Okay, I was like, let me do my research, right?
Oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah. So 3 words I use to describe your work overall is captivating, intentional, and moving. You are you're gifted. You're gifted with what you do. And so I was thinking, of course, I was thinking about this work, and I was thinking about the fact that over the past, let's say 4 years, there have been a number of films and TV shows that revolve around this idea of Black bodies being brutalized by police. Right? And you know, this is not a new thing in America. It just different things. And it happens even more often than we see it, even though now there are cameras. So I think a lot of times when people watch work like that based around police brutality, it can be something that's desensitizing. They can feel numb. They can not want to watch it. They're like, I never felt that way watching this. I was like, this is a fresh new take on this idea. And I really respected it, man. I was like, oh yeah, this is, people, they ain't gonna expect this one. So I really, I like that a lot. So I want to start by saying that. Talk to me a bit about what made you decide to make this film.
Well, for one, yeah, I did want to give like a I just want to give fresh eyes to what it is and how the community really feels, deep down, like the hurt that the community feels in just a raw and transparent way. But I also wanted to give a perspective through all lenses. I just didn't want to keep it kind of singular and just kind of I guess the word I'm looking for, I don't want to say monotone, but I didn't want to make it monotonous. I didn't want to make it like, okay, you're just going to see it from the eyes of maybe a specific individual, but I wanted everyone's take on the that whole entire narrative. I wanted everyone's take on that whole entire narrative as to how they go on about their day, how they go on about their lives, how they take it as they go on about their lives, and how do we answer the question when we deal with these situations, when you have the person who has committed the murder and the people who are grieving and the people who are in between. Yeah. Like the people who may feel like one side is correct, one side maybe not, or the people who are extremely neutral. And I felt like it was important to tackle all of it. And I think that was the important part of creating this film was, and essentially that's the real reason why I called it Piece, was because I felt like each piece was important to the bigger picture of the entire narrative. And I wanted to kind of like play it. I wanted to play off the idea of the game of chess, and I felt like there's very subtle references and symbolisms to the game chess in the film, and I wanted to reference the idea of chess and how every single piece in the chess game is so vital, and how every piece of person who was in the film was very vital as well. That's why there were so many different vantage points, and I wanted to make sure everyone understood like everyone's narrative is important here. As much as you may feel like you may be taken away from something, everything kind of follows something to push you back into the story. And I thought that was very important. I felt like that's something that I wanted to create, something that I wanted to talk about, speak about. And when I'm very I try to be as much of a humanitarian as possible. And I feel like if I was biased when it came to certain aspects, then I wouldn't be a great storyteller. I wouldn't be a man of my word. I wouldn't be a man of the actual people. And I felt like, and you know what? I learned that from Killer Mike. Killer Mike, when he made that Netflix, I forget what it's called. I think it's like Trigger Warning or something. And he created like this nation, and he was very unbiased. Like he was trying to be like a man of the people. And I thought that was very interesting. And I told myself, if I'm gonna make stories, I need to get even the perspective of the person deep down inside that I probably would never like, And I thought it was very important to do that because I needed to be sort of like this, like a blank sheet of paper for all minds, all perspectives. And I felt like that was the goal and the mission for this film. And the inspiration, I'd say, for the film, as far as the style and technique that kind of like helped me kind of like create this whole, all right, I'm gonna take different vantage points and tell this bigger story, was this guy. Like, he's like my inspiration, Donald Glover. After I saw the Sweatpants video, I was so like, I was just, I was I kept watching it. I just kept watching the video and studying it and studying this man. And I was like, this is so genius, man. I just love this. But in the video, what he did was, I kind of tried to reverse engineer what he did. But what he did was kind of create the concept of how everyone in the diner was him. And I thought that was interesting in how he did that. And it was kind of like this sort of like world of vanity, of like vain. And I wanted to strip that away from this film completely. I wanted to completely reverse that and give like this whole perspective of how you just get these singular thoughts all in one. And you kind of have to digest every little thing, you know, as it turns from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. You're kind of like going through each and every story, and you're like kind of like your brain is like, oh, hold up, wait a minute, what's going on? What's happening? What?
No, I agree.
Yeah.
No, go
so
ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
So
I'm bad. My bad.
I love it. No,
Yeah.
I'm saying, go ahead and finish what you were saying, man.
I just thought it was interesting because I felt like you know I feel like, you know, and another thing too, and I don't want this to sound like negative, but I feel like when it comes to stories, I wanted to create something where even like maybe the younger generation who, you know, we're in the times of like TikTok and, you know, 15-second, you know, things like that, Instagram stories and, you know, and everything is so fast and the attention span is very like, you know, so I wanted to create something where at every moment there was tension and you had to watch. Like you could not look away. Like you have to see what's going to happen next. And I felt like dividing it into several different stories gives the audience an ability to kind of like, you know, in this time and age of information, I feel like we're collecting so much information so fast that I felt like it would help to facilitate like all these singular stories and put them in one bigger piece, because now the viewer has an opportunity to watch one thing and then they'll go to the next, and they'll go to the next, and not unknowingly wouldn't know like it's going to return back to that story. So I kind of wanted to engineer it in that way. So that was a long answer. I'm so sorry, but yeah.
That's what we're here for. We want to hear what you got to say, man. I agree. I think you structured everything so well, and I want to dig into how you did so next, but there weren't moments where I didn't feel tense. And, you know, I think we're not used to diving into things in that way. Personally, and so it takes a second to get used to, but once you get used to it, you're like, oh no, I like this is actually, where is this going? And it's almost like watching a bunch of little movies, because for like just a second you get to be in someone's world, and then you move out of it, and then you might move back into it, at least in, you know, it'll be in the background, and then we get to the foreground. So I enjoyed it. Okay, I guess I will ask this. How did you go about the filming process of this? Because it's a lot of work. Anything with one shots. And I'll just say this real quick, because in Malcolm X, the first scene is a one shot. And I think it's like 8 minutes or more. Like it's something crazy, right?
Yeah.
So Spike Lee does it in Malcolm X. And then Qasim Bazir does it in A Boy or Girl, A Dream. The entire film is a one shot. And so I was like, I don't know how this man did this. So please go ahead and let us know.
So, you know, choreographing. So I'm a big fan of plays. Like, and when I say big fan of plays, I don't necessarily mean like, you know, and this is not to disrespect anyone who's in theater or, you know, Broadway, but I respect their craft so much. And I feel like when they do it, and I've been like backstage and watch how people practice and rehearse, and I see how they get together and they have to, all right, you go left, all right, put the curtains down, boom, boom, get dressed up and boom, boom, like that. And I just realized how everyone has to be in sync.
Yes.
And how powerful that is. It's powerful when a group of people are on one accord.
It is.
And I think that's the one aspect that I really, really loved about A Single Take, was that it's just this large group of people who have this singular energy, and or should I say synergy, that that brings about like just this beautiful captivating story. And I loved it so much where I started to understand how plays worked, and how plays are very similar to what would be considered a single take.
Yeah.
And so when I was kind of like getting the story ready and everything, when I was like proposing this to people, they were like, "How are you gonna do that?" Like everyone was like, they was like, "What is like?" They would read the script and they were like, "What's continuous? Like, why? What doesn't one thing go to the next? Go to the next? Like, there's no cuts." They're like, "I don't get it. I don't understand it." And so when we went about like rehearsing and doing everything, and I started to explain everything to everyone, even during reads, people were still confused. It was not until we went to the diner and I started to like block everyone and do the movements, and they were like, "Oh,
yeah.
So you're not cutting, like cutting." I'm like, "Nah, we're going all the way through." And they're like, "So we can't mess up." And I'm like, "Nah." Like,
very little.
You gotta go. That's why I was like, I brought in the woman, Miss Carol.
Yes.
Her name is Regina Hopkins. Amazing.
Yeah.
She is theater trained. Cool. And she comes from Broadway. Like, she comes from plays.
Very cool.
So she already understood like right away what it was. So she was seasoned. She was on point. And when they saw her, and I specifically chose her because I knew she understood what it meant to choreograph and move and all that. So as soon as she came through and they saw her, everyone stepped their game up. They were like, "Oh, okay, boom." Yes. And I felt like it was I felt like what probably Ava felt when Jarrell Jerome, because I heard the story of When They See Us, when they were doing like the reading. Everyone was there during the reading, and they were doing like the courtroom scene where Jarrell Jerome's character has to, he's pled guilty, and they were doing the reading, and he was like acting it out, and he was going in, and everyone saw that, and they're like, oh, it's like that, and they're like, all right, okay, we going in.
Yes.
So I feel like when you bring in performers like that, it helps so much with the morale of everything, especially as a director. You want to be able to create and facilitate morale. You want people to feel the atmosphere and just be the character rather than act. And I think it's hard to act and direct at the same time.
Yes.
So
agreed.
Yeah, right. You know this because you have that experience.
Yeah.
So it's very it'll stretch you thin, but it was big help by casting her, because I think she helped draw out so much more out of everyone else, to let them understand like, oh, we're diving into something new, and they started understanding how fresh it was, because her coming from theater and everyone else coming from more so like acting classes and film experience, they were kind of like used to like, several takes, but like, short ones.
Right.
But she was used to like the long, hey, we do one show and then we gotta go right back and do another show, and then right back and do another show. And it's like whole entire shows.
Yeah.
And so once that happened, boom, it created the whole process of, okay, boom, 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 boom. Now, as far as camera work and equipment, that is all to my boy Marcelo and Zach Berg, who's a Black cinematographer and Black Steadicam operator. So represent, right? He was the MVP of the set. I mean, this dude was holding this thing and like shaking, but he was on it. And we, man, so much just gratitude and praise to him, because he really went in for us. You know, he really did such an amazing job, and we were able to create this nice and powerful way of trying to you know, move with the characters as we went inside the diner, and you know, one takes are very hard, very, very hard. So sometimes you have to, and like as as much as some people are like, oh, but I thought you said it was gonna be a one take though. Sometimes you have to create ways to kind of like cut around, but very seamlessly, right? And you just have to be very smart about it and very creative about it. I think creativity comes from a lot of, I think you become the most creative when you understand that you have certain limitations. I think there's certain creativity that is drawn out of you. And with that, we're able to create like these beautiful seamless cuts to maintain this beautiful single take and this story that just kept driving and driving. So yeah, and that was the process of it. That was the process of all of that. Getting together with the DPs, the Steadicam op, sound, the lighting, the gaffer, making sure everyone just understood the aspect of the nature of the film is from the street. You have to give the aspect of the community in Miami, how it feels over here, how the people are, and I feel like people thoroughly understood after, like just walking, you know, just walking and feeling the atmosphere that we like set up with the set design and everything in Miami and everything. I think they started to understand what it was. And instead of feeling like the camera was even on them, they treated it like it was a play, like they were in an actual playhouse. And that was what made the whole thing beautiful. So it definitely came together because everyone really felt like they were in the film. After several, you know, several times going around and practicing and, all right, we're gonna be here, here, here. Everyone started to become very natural, and they just went with it. And they just took the characters for their own and created something out of it. And it just made for such a beautiful film.
Yeah, for sure. I think I did like theater when I was younger, and I know what that means to be in a play. And I'm really grateful you had such a seasoned actor, because when you put someone like them on your set, not only do they help direct everyone as well, but they give the entire team confidence. And that's what you want. You want people to be comfortable in the roles that they're playing. It's like, you chose them for a reason. I chose you for a reason. Do what you came here to do. I trust you. And I mean, I think sometimes that might be a little tough when you're not only the director, you're the writer, you're the actor, you're the editor, you're the everything. So, and sometimes that could be pretty heavy. But everyone did such a stupendous job, and I'm so happy to see that y'all were all in it together, because that's what you need, whether we're talking about a one shot or whether we're talking about any other type of creative effort. When everybody is on the same page, it makes everything go smoother, and it just feels good.
Yeah, it does. It felt so great. The energy out there was amazing. I feel like that cast really understood after a while what was happening. And I think I have to give also credit to again the DP Marcelo. He brought a beautiful team out. And I think people realized that they were actually on a set. Once they saw that Ari, they knew what it was, because there was like oh, that's how you doing it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it makes people step their game up for sure.
yeah. When they see it, they're like, oh, I thought we was.
Yeah.
And they start to, they really go in. They really go in. They do. But they do it, they do it in a way where I feel like they always have it in them. They've
Yeah.
always had it in them, but they start to understand and respect like what you're doing, because they realize like you are taking it very seriously. You're putting in so much into it that they can't help but do the same. It's very I don't know. It's such an essential quality in leadership. I feel when people see how hard you go, they will be like, whoa, wow, okay, all right.
For you, yeah. It's interesting how that happens, and that's also how people care about you too. Like you don't have anybody on your set who's just trying to like do nothing and not give you anything. No, they want to help you, and they want to make sure that your work is the best.
It's crazy because I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
The film that you, first of all, your film is extremely beautiful. What, and I just want to real quick, just what made you decide to do a story on, I mean, do you want me to reveal the synopsis, the plot?
It's been out for a minute. I'm cool with that. Go ahead.
You cool? Okay. So the pregnancy thing, what was the inspiration behind that? Like, is that a story that you felt like was important? Is that a story that you may have seen before, or that a personal experience that you may have had? Like, what was the inspiration behind that, and what like created that dialogue at the end? Because that was dope. The whole idea with the shooting the paper joint, I was like, yo, come on, yo, that's dope. Yeah. That was genius.
Man. Okay, cool. Let me dig in the archives. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So thinking back, before I went to my master's, I had to write a short story, and it had to be like a non-dialogue short story for the most part. And so I literally couldn't stop thinking about like young fatherhood with Black men. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just make this story about this young Black dude who finds out he's going to be a dad. Like, and it has no other characters, and it's just him. So when I got to my master's, I couldn't get that idea out of my mind. And so I realized that if I was going to talk about young Black fatherhood, I wanted to also bring in this girlfriend as well. And so it just became this idea of understanding that typically in a lot of quote unquote Black love films, Black family films, each person is characterized in a horrible way. We have these immature Black fathers who don't want to act as men should, and they don't want to be responsible, and they don't want to be there for the baby or for the girlfriend or wife or whoever. And sometimes they leave. And
you know what? You know what? I don't mean to interject. You're absolutely right, because almost every Black film, there's a Black dad who's like terrible, and then like there's the woman, and she ends up going out with like this millionaire, but then he ends up being like an abuser. It's ridiculous, and I'm like, what's happening? Is this every story? So I give you so much props for just creating something where you're like, all right, I'm not gonna do this same old like perpetuated trauma. I'm gonna switch it up.
Well, yeah, I'm also just like, why is it? Because I remember growing up hearing, and maybe like hearing it in person, hearing it on TV, whatever, that if I were to get pregnant, don't expect the man to be there because he probably not gonna stay. And I was like, wait a second, because it took two people to make a baby. Why does he need to go off and do whatever he wants? And why is this a stigma amongst Black people when Black people are extremely loving? And I know of couples who work it out and who are focused on a healthy relationship. So I took all of that information and I was like, here's what we're going to do. And so the other thing though is, I have like little cousins, and I have people in my life who I care about. And especially when you think about people being harmed, whether it's like by police or by whoever, Black bodies being killed and hurt.
Yeah.
That is something that as a parent, whether there's been a police killing recently or not, that is something that you think about before you have the child. You wonder about their future. You hope
That's very true. That is very true.
To college or become millionaires or whatever, and you have desires and dreams for them before they get here. Yeah. So that was why I talked about that at the end, because I'm like, I'm thinking about this before I even have kids. I'm not even doing nothing right now, but I'm like, I want my kids to grow up in a world where they can be safe and loved, but we got to be real with them. We got to tell them, hey, this is how the world is going to treat you, and that's how it is, but know that like you're worth it and that you mean something and that you're loved. So in trash
that's amazing. That's, you know what, I like that you thought about like the whole, even the future aspect, like, are these kids going to be safe in the world? Like what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. And I love that you created like this story where even the girl felt safe around the guy.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I think I don't know what's happening, but apparently there's this narrative where there are Black women who feel unsafe.
Talk about it.
There's a crazy, like, and it's crazy why it's crazy. Like, a lot of people are like, yeah, didn't you know that? No, I didn't know that. Of course, I didn't know that. And you know what? You know what makes me sad is that, you know, I'm around the type of men I'm around, that we honor our mothers. We're very, like, you know, we're loving to our sisters. We're loving to our girlfriends, or the Black women around our lives. And it's crazy how some Black women have told me, like, yeah, you know, I like hanging around with you because you make me feel safe. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you mean safe? Like, I just feel safe. Like, I feel like I'm not gonna get hit. You know, I'm not. You know, I'm not gonna get hit on. I'm not gonna, you know, feel like. I feel like you can walk me to my car. You know, just certain aspects. And I love that you made a story where you made a relationship that they both could still talk to each other.
Yes. Yeah.
They both can still, hey, you know what? Let's talk. Let's work this out. Let's have a conversation. And then, you know what you did? Yo, I thought that was dope. You're like, I'm gonna shoot the ball and then I'm gonna ask you a question. I thought that was so genius.
Thank you.
Threw the game in there. And so I love that so much. And you know what that made me think? I was like, what, were you ever like a teacher, or like, did you teach like kids or something like that? Or, because to even have a mind like that, I feel like it comes with like this sort of wisdom, knowledge to facilitate a sort of like this sort of like this, what's the word I want to use? Like, you use like a game to create a very healthy and progressive conversation. Mm-hmm. And it seems like such a simple idea, but I think it's a genius thing to do. And I just thought that was so smart. I was like, oh my, I was like, well, after I watched it, I was like, I get why she's getting selected to so many festivals. This is genius. So I get it. And I just thought that was dope, man. When you can create something where, let's say, for instance, if a man is like trying to have a conversation with his woman, or a woman is trying to have a conversation with her man, she could be like, let's throw the ball.
Yep.
Let's toss this football. And it'll kind of lighten up his mood.
Yes.
Because he'll be doing something he's sort of like familiar with. Mm-hmm. And as he's tossing the ball, he's obviously like seeing his girl try to catch the ball. It kind of lightens his mood, maybe brings him up a little bit, and it kind of like lowers his defenses.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And now you can speak to him. And it's the same thing with a woman. Guy approach a woman. Oh, let's cook.
Yeah.
Let's cook something. Or not even cook. If she likes to braid hair, or she likes to, you know, what's something, what's some, I don't want to use something that's like very, cliche or.
People cook all the time. I'm okay with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, women cook.
Or if she's like an artist, like she likes to
Yeah.
draw or paint. Let's paint something together. Let's
Yeah.
do something. Boom. They're painting. Now they're talking. He's like, okay, I'm gonna paint this side, and then I'm using your whole entire film right
That's
now.
okay.
I'll paint this. You ask me a question. You paint that. I'll ask you a question. Something like that.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's so helpful. I feel like that's so smart and so genius because it creates a way for conversation to progress. What you really are doing are facilitating a new form of language, of speech, of speaking, of conversation, of healthy healing factors, healing benefactors that can help people learn each other, connect to each other, understand each other. And that's how relationships thrive. The best ways is when people truly, honestly try to connect with one another, where no one's breaking each other down or putting each other down, where they're really understanding, okay, I went through this trauma, you went through this trauma. Let's understand our traumas. Let's understand how we should treat each other, how we should approach each other, everything. And let's work on ourselves as we build each other. That's the way you do it.
Speaking about making connections, can you talk to me a little bit about what conversations were like on set between you and the cast and crew, and even maybe conversations you heard between the cast and crew themselves based around this idea that you wanted to tackle? Being that we're talking about, of course, like police brutality and that whole nature.
I think the cast, and it's funny, certain cast members, they were blown away. Like I want to say, one cast member in particular, his name is Tim. He played Debbie. He was the one. He was the one who was kind of like the comic relief, and he was in the kitchen scene. So so he he's also a writer as well.
Okay.
And when he read the script, I just remember him in particular. He's the one that I remember the most. I just remember him coming up to me and he's like, dude, how? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, how did you come up with this? How were you able to write something like this? Like, what's your brain? Like, this is amazing. Like, we need to sit down. And I just remember as we were building the film, I went over to his apartment, and it was me, it was the assistant director, a few other cast members, and it was one of the gaffers. And we just sat out on the balcony, and he sat with me. He was like, "What, you have to tell me, man, what inspired you to do this? Like, what?" And I just remember that conversation specifically with him. It kind of generated this form of like, oh, when I was creating it, I created it, and I guess inside of me, I understood what it was.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know how it would affect people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just affected it in an early stage. So Tim specifically, as pre-production was happening, I just remember having conversations with him, and he was just like, he felt like a lot of responsibility. I just remember he would always be like, dude, like, this is amazing. Like, there's so much in this that is gonna be great. Yeah. And I just remember him he kept fueling me.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. Tim. So shout out to Tim Gray. You guys should definitely follow him. He's amazing. Just such a sweet person. And it was him and my boy Pierre Saint Jean. So dope, so amazing. Every single day, like, I remember I did the first cut to piece, I sent it to him, and he's just like, bro, I don't think you know what you have. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? And he would always be like, he was like, I don't think you understand. He's like, I don't even think you understand the atmosphere that you created, the environment that you created. And he was like, that day when I came on set, I felt like there was a shift. And I was like, whoa, what do you mean? It was like, it was like trailblazing. Like, I really felt like I was a part of something big.
Yes.
And I never felt like that. Throughout my film journey, I haven't felt like that until that moment. And when he told me that, again, nothing registered yet. I was just like, these are nice words, but I don't know how to take them yet, right? Yeah. And so it did, like, as everything started to like progress, he would just like, dude, do you understand? Like, he would tap me like, bro, look. And there would be people, like the group of people, and they'd be like, yo, peace. And like all these people be like, yo, I'm excited to see this movie. Like, what? One take, boom, 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 boom. And he would always like, nudge me and be like, they don't even know yet. They don't even know. And I'm like, oh, he's like, they don't even know. Because he knew, you know what I'm talking about. Yes. He knew. Yeah. Because he saw it, and he was like, they don't even know yet. Yeah. And so he kept just saying, like, I can't wait for what is going to happen with this. Because he's like, I just don't think you understand what you actually created yet. I don't think you understand it. And me, I wasn't even trying to be humble. I was just like, you know what? You're probably right. I don't think I know. I'm just kind of, I'm just kind of moving with, what I feel like God has presented me. Yeah. And I'm just kind of moving along and making sure I take it day by day, step by step, and constantly try to make this come to life, make it come to pass. So when those two people, I remember distinctly, like whenever I spoke to them, they were the people who were constantly like in my ear and just telling me like how much that they felt. And they're both Black, and they said this story is so important, this message, this entire movie is so vital. And they just kept telling me, like, they just kept reminding, like, I don't think you understand how important this is, like what it's gonna say. And I just was like, yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm just gonna chill on it for a little bit. Yeah. I don't know. And so with the casting, what I'd say with the casting crew, because Tim was part of the cast and Pierre was a part of the crew, I'd say those two guys, because I was friends with Tim, and I became friends with Pierre through the process of filmmaking, and I think we grew so close, and I think through that they started to kind of understand me more, and as things were going on, I think that connection is what stuck with me the most. The other cast members, obviously, they're amazing, wonderful people. I've tried my best when I first was writing the script and everything to not share the you know what I'm talking about. I was giving people like their stuff, like their sides and everything, and then I would bring it all together towards like rehearsals, and like step by step, like each and every day I would add more and add more and add more, until we got to the actual thing. And I feel like they really was respecting it, because they started to see how much I was so into everyone's ability to bring this thing to life. And at first it was a lot of skepticism, because no one believed what was going to happen. No one didn't know what was going to happen, because they were like, what are we doing? Like, what's happening? Is it just a film, or is this like a play? Is this this? So everyone kind of went off the strength of well, this is Frantzy. Like, we've seen his work before, and we believe in him. So that was more so what it was. But I think with Tim and with Pierre, they started to understand me a little bit more and how much I was so into the craft. And by our friendship developing, they understood like how much I loved film so much and how I wanted to be innovative, that they were like, oh, we get his mind.
Yes.
And with that, they were like, I don't think he knows what he's doing. Yeah, so when it was that, I was like, oh yeah, okay. And so I really don't like to be too full of myself like that. But I would like to say, like, there was a point in time where I did feel very good when there were certain people who saw the film that are very hardcore critics.
Mm-hmm.
When they saw the film, they were like, yo, this was good.
Yes.
Like one person in particular is my girl. She does not like anything, and she questions every single movie. Sometimes I'll be like, we not watching this together because I can't. And she's more hardcore than me, and I'm like the filmmaker. And she was like, why would they do that? Why would they do that? Why would they? And I'm like, I'm looking at her like, why am I not asking these questions? Like, I'm like, I should be the one who should be like dissecting this. And so every time she watches my film, she dissects them because she's very, very, very honest with me. And so when she saw the film, she's on everything: story, plot points, plot holes, even down to like a tech. Like, is the sound good?
Yeah.
Is the acting good? Are the visuals good? Is the coloring good? Like, she's on it, right? And I'm like, you're not even a filmmaker. Why are you doing this to me? So she'll watch it, and I just remember her watching it, and I was just like, I was like ready to just leave the room because she was quiet. She was just quiet the whole time. I'm like, oh man, she's gonna destroy me. And after she watched it, she was like, oh my gosh. And she looked at me and that was amazing. I was like, oh, I'm good. I left the room. I'm like, I'm good. I was like, you want to go to Red Lobster, Texas to Brazil? It's on me. Come on, let's go. And I was just like, I'm feeding you. I'm giving you everything. I was good. I was good. And I think from there, I started to understand, like, oh, I do have something. And so I think with the cast and crew, and just, my girl, who's very vivid on making sure everything I put out is very, she's like, no, it has to be up to snuff, because she's the type of person. She's like, she's one of those people. She's very like OCD. She like, when she, I know she's not gonna like me saying this at all, but I think it works great because she keeps everything so clean. Like, there's certain aspects like where she's very detailed and specific, and I think that's good for me because it helps me to become a little bit more like poignant and like very detailed when it comes to the writing and everything like that. And when she was like that, I was like, yeah, she's like she would be considered the boss, like the second boss, like a Goro or like a Shao Kahn of like Mortal Kombat, or like some sort of like, like, just to get past, so you can feel like, oh, okay, like, So yeah, she was that,
and that's what you need. Let's be real. You need someone who's going to be that honest with you, but also loves you, and is just going to do everything to support you and help. So fantastic.
Yeah. And she was on it, man. I was just looking at her. I was like, sweating.
Yeah,
Jordan Peele, that Jordan Peele meme.
Oh yeah.
I was really sweat. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm nervous because I each and every time I know she's gonna give me honest critique and feedback, and she's always loving about it and everything. But I know at that point I was very because she will not let me get away with just some average work ever. She's a little she's sort of like my Joe Jackson, so I have to be on point. I can't play. You don't want me to play outside? No, go back. Give me the switch. So yeah.
She gonna make you great. That's what you try to say.
She's gonna make me great. She's gonna make me great. So yeah, it's dope. It's dope. But that's really the that's what it was. And I think again with the cast and crew, just to bring it to a close, it was Tim, Pierre, who really made me like think about that, think about the film. They're really communicating with me throughout the whole process and talking about it and everything like that. It was beautiful with them, And the other people, they were just skeptical. They were like, I don't know yet. But then when they believed in it, well, obviously they believed in me. And then afterwards, when they saw it come together, they were like, wow, they were amazed. So.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. I mean, you still have a few more film festivals it's going to be in, correct?
Yeah.
So you are yet to feel the real wave, man. But
yeah, I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping, and like I said, I leave it in God's hands, and
absolutely.
I just hope people see. I just hope people really understand what it is, and like the ways that I'm trying to just be more innovative with storytelling and execution of storytelling. So
yeah, you're doing a fantastic job. I just have to say that. I'm so proud. I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit before. It's so easy now to have a really pretty TV show or pretty film and lack content. It is too easy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I see it so much more now. I watch it, I'm like, that was pretty, but wait. I'm missing something here. And I love that your work never does that. Everything is spot on. Everything. And especially with this film, I think being that you go from, you have the one shot and it's a bit transitional, I think it just seamlessly puts everything together. So I'm so proud. I just am. The work is dope, man.
Thank you.
Oh, people gonna be like, hey, let's get this man some awards. It's just good. And I mean, you said the feedback you've been getting has been pretty great, right?
Yeah, the feedback. Oh man, the feedback has been wonderful. I've just been getting so much love from every single person. Everyone has just been so like, and they've been detailed too. They've been telling me why they love it, why it's been hitting them so hard, like, and it speaks to the actual, just the answer to people's hurt from in the community. People who feel like there are certain aspects that help them see things that they more or less would not have seen or not have heard, and certain aspects of things that they kind of felt like drawn to when they saw it, and they were. It was almost like, that because of that narrative, certain people were tired of seeing the usual ending.
Yes. Yeah.
And by that, when they saw that and they saw like how the film was, they're like, just to like paraphrase and like culminate most of the responses, everyone really felt like it was a fresh take on everything. They're just like, it's such a fresh take on everything, so new, so not necessarily unique, but just a different look at seemingly be a narrative that has become a little bit. I don't know. Like I think Black people are tired.
Yeah.
They're just tired.
Yeah.
They are fatigued. They're tired of the whole thing. They're just like, again. They're like, come on, like when is something going to change? Like when is something going to happen? And I think the film really I don't know. I think the film really gives an answer to that, and I think it gives us such a powerful way that really I want to say, and I want to say this without giving anything away. I think what it does is that it highlights something that we've all known as Black people. It highlights something that we all know as Black people, and what I mean when I say that is how powerful Black women are
Mm.
through the progression of Black people.
Mm.
If that makes any sense.
It does.
It speaks to how much Black women do for us.
Yes.
As not only a Black culture, but all cultures.
Yeah.
How powerful women truly are. Yeah. Yeah. And that was something big. And I think I tried to showcase that throughout the film in small little increments.
Mm-hmm.
If people really watch, they'll see how much I've kind of thrown in like these powerful voices of Black women. Even when they may seem like even when it may seem like they're not about that life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just say that. They are always the ones who come through.
Yeah.
When it means the most.
Yeah.
So that should, yeah.
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 I mean, I think I should have known better when I started watching this movie that it wasn't going to end the way I thought it was going to end, because I mean, the way you craft stories is so unique. I think that when people watch one of your works, they're never going to be like, I knew it was going to end that way. And like most people say that. They're like, I called it. I saw it coming. I have never done that at all with anything that you create. So
wow.
I think it makes it even more enjoyable of an experience. Because I mean, I'm like, well, how is he going to tie this together? I was watching What's More Important, and I was like, how did he? Man, I never saw that coming. Like, I just loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
That's a little plug. Y'all need to go watch What's More Important. It's on YouTube.
Thank you. That's what's up. Yeah, definitely check that out, y'all. Definitely check that out. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. So for people who want to watch Peace, is it going to be playing anywhere soon, or how can they see it?
So Peace, right now, it's in the Micho Film Festival, and the Micho Film Festival will be going on between April 26th to May 2nd, I believe.
Perfect.
And so there's tickets on sale for that, and that festival in particular, I'm really proud to be a part of, and I really honor it because of the name Micho. Who's Oscar Micheaux?
Yes.
You know the history of Oscar Micheaux.
Love it.
He's the one who the Oscars are named after, a Black filmmaker who's very big in the first half of the, I want to say, 19th century or the 20th century, and he was an independent filmmaker who you know produced and funded all his films, you know, and
too.
yeah, and so it's so monumental, and I love that it's playing this. And this festival is dope because it's from Black founders, and they're Black, like they're like black, like and they and that I love all the festivals like who are founded by Black people. They're so dope. They're lit because these people they accentuate their Blackness. Like they're not afraid, and I love that. Like I remember I posted something on Insta story and it had like Outkast playing, and they were like about that. They were like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I was so happy because I was like, oh, they really are like they're for the culture. Like they're not afraid. They're not trying to be suits. They're not trying to be any of that. They're really speaking in the language of the creators. Like they're really trying to make us be known and heard, and trying to say like, yeah, we're celebrating you guys, you know. And so it's gonna be a part of the Misho Film Festival. The tickets are on sale. It's gonna be a part of the offer you can't refuse block, volume 1. And so people can check it out, and let me know what they think. I really look forward to hearing what people feel about the film, and and I want anybody, if anyone has any questions, they could direct it to me, or they could even ask you. They could come to you and be like, yo, I saw this movie, like, what was this? So yeah, I'm very happy about it. I'm happy that it's a part of this film festival, and I want them to check it out at this particular film festival because for one, it's Black owned, and this film is definitely Black. So check it out, and yeah. So I'm happy that we've had this conversation. I'm happy we had this conversation because I feel like there's stuff that we've unpacked. There's stuff that we kind of like touched on and even discovered that I hope anyone who does end up watching this kind of like sees and they realize, and they even start to regulate in their films and like push in their narratives and their writing and everything. And I feel like these conversations are important for us to have. And I want to thank you so much for having me on here to speak about all of this, and just honoring each other and honoring our work, because you are an amazing writer, director. You edit too. I didn't even know you edit. See that?
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
Thank
and
you.
I think I think we're doing a really good thing. I want to thank you because you're the one who started this. You made this. You did this. And that's why I say all the time, every time I'm somewhere, and I don't care if anyone gets mad, Black women are the ones who progress things. So I want to give you honor and respect, love, and much thanks for all of this. So yeah.
I just appreciate you so much. I respect your work. You are about to blow up. I'm just
Thank you. I received it.
Going places that you haven't even seen yet, man. So I cannot wait to support and be screaming for you.
So are you. We're gonna do this together. So I'm happy for that. So yeah.
Cool.
So,
thank you, man.